absolute chaos kicking in at Netflix as there is now a employee walkout happening right now, or scheduled for a little bit later today. We've got the company being forced to reinstate the fired employees, and we've got a lot of other comedians weighing in on the spicy Dave Chappelle special. Look, this is one of the things where so many pro-censorship people, by the way, if you haven't yet, please do click that red subscribe button down below the video. It'll help keep you up to date on everything that's going on around the world. I do 5 or 6 videos a day, and it's the only way, or it's the only thing I ever ask of my viewers, by the way. Now, the very same people who are constantly talking about don't like it, don't watch it, are out here, you know, having a fit about a comedy special on a premium television service that you have to pay for that they don't have to watch. It's interesting to watch both sides of this. You know, they're the same people that talk about consequence culture. Well, things are heating up inside the Netflix headquarters here with physical altercations and all sorts of other things going on. Before we get into all the calamity, just a super quick word from this video sponsor, Keeps. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Keeps. Listen, 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. And the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have it. Keeps offers you a great option to get treated from home. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you. Then, your treatment is shipped directly to your door every 3 months. And with all hair loss, prevention is key. Keeps treatments can take between 4 and 6 months before you start seeing results, so it's important that you act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll be able to save. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/thequartering or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/thequartering. Let's start with Damon Wayans saying Dave Chappelle's special freed the slaves. Damon Wayans is dropping some serious praise on a fellow comic. In battle, Dave Chappelle just isn't an artist, he's a unicorn. And with his controversial new Netflix special, The Closer, Wayans says Chappelle is also a freedom fighter. I feel like Dave freed the slaves. Yeah, the comedians. A masked Wayans, 61, told TMZ while heading to catch a flight on Monday at LAX, "We were slaves to PC culture, and he just, you know, as an artist, he's Van Gogh. He cut his ear off, and he's trying to tell us it's okay." He's not wrong. I just did an interview with Ryan Long about how, you know, PC culture has damaged comedy, and I do think it absolutely has. And I think, you know, the other side of that is like, oh, do you have to tell offensive jokes to be funny? Well, no, but when you're talking about pushing boundaries and you're forcing, you know, people who do that for a living to stay within said boundaries, you're going to water down the product. Of course, critics called for The Closer to be yanked from the streaming service's lineup, but Netflix head honcho declared Monday that he prefers to stand on the side of artistic freedom. Chappelle's one of the most popular stand-up comedians today, and we have a long-standing deal with him. Of course, blah, 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 blah. We make a lot of money. Wayans went a step further than the CEO of Netflix when TMZ's cameraman asked him if Chappelle's bold moves allowed artists to be a bit more risque, to be yourself. The Lethal Weapon star, Lethal Weapon? That's what we're, okay. Star responded, "I've always been free, but I just think he's saying, you know, all that I have, I'm not afraid to lose it for the sake of creative freedoms of speech. You can't edit yourself. Comedians, we're like, Mercedes makes a good car, but you got to crash a lot of them before they perfect it. Meanwhile, advocacy group GLAAD has declared Chappelle's brand has become synonymous with ridiculing trans folks and other marginalized communities. When TMZ asked Wayans to comment on such criticisms, he said, "I can't speak about the content of the show, but what I say is there's a bigger conversation we need to have. Someone needs to look us in the eye and go, you're no longer free in this country. You're not free to say what you want. You're not free. You say what we want you to say. Otherwise, we will cancel you." That's the discussion we should have. So Chappelle's following a long line of trailblazers from Lenny Bruce to Richard Pryor to be the modern poster child for comedians. He's a unicorn. He's amazing. He's Van Gogh. Wayne said, for taking off to hop on his plane. Now, earlier today, Netflix has decided to reinstate activist employees who tried to force their way into a meeting over Dave Chappelle's phobia. Of course they had to. Streaming giant Netflix reinstated 3 employees on Tuesday that had been suspended late last week for trying to force their way into a high-level business meeting, alleging that Dave Chappelle was phobic. A company spokesperson confirmed a deadline that Netflix engineer Tara Field, as well as 2 other employees that were suspended, were reinstated to their posts on Tuesday. The employees were assured that their suspension was not in regards to criticisms posted to their personal social media accounts about Dave Chappelle's special, but rather regarding the unauthorized attendance at the quarterly business review meeting. The spokesperson said that Netflix will be distributing broader guidance about meetings and clarifying which are for which people. On Monday, Netflix spokesperson discredited claims that these activist employees were suspended simply for criticizing Chappelle, and Netflix in social media posts saying that it's absolutely untrue to say that they suspended to any degree about the show. Our employees are encouraged to disagree. Field posted notice of reinstatement on Twitter saying, Netflix has reinstated me after finding that there were no ill intent in my attending the QBR meeting. I've included the statement I requested below. I am going to take a few days off to decompress and try to figure out where I'm at. At the very least, I feel vindicated. These people, and I'm not talking about trans people, I'm talking about a lot of these Gen Zers and younger millennials. They have an entitlement problem. They think that, and it's only, exacerbated by companies like woke companies like Netflix and Spotify, saying things publicly that, they can do, whatever they want without consequence. And then when they find consequence, they need time to decompress. The statement saying, our investigation did not find that you joined the QBR meeting with any ill intent and that you genuinely didn't think there's anything wrong with seeking access to the meeting. Additionally, when a director shared the link, it's further supported that this was a meeting that you could attend, the Netflix statement from Field reads. An exclusive meeting featured Netflix co-CEO and others. Chappelle, we talked about all of that. I don't know. I think, obviously people are extraordinarily sensitive, far too sensitive. And you see here now, trans Netflix workers, so like 6 of them, plan walkout over Dave Chappelle controversy. It could be seen as simply a lunch break. Bold move. Hey, go do your thing. Do your thing. Do your walkout. Do your advocacy. Good for you. Now, if you get replaced at that company for being too much of a problem, that will suck. But, that's just consequence culture, as you would say. The business issues caused by controversial Dave Chappelle comedy special are apparently anything but funny. Trans Netflix employees are planning a walkout on October 20th. Way too late. Should have did it today. No one's going to care in a week. From the streaming service in response to a bevy of ongoing issues that connect back to the 48-year-old Chappelle's The Closer. The most prominent of the problems was a suspension of a senior software engineer, Tara Field, who slammed Chappelle for his humor against trans people that went viral on Twitter. I'm sure they're going to sue Netflix and be a ton of money and make a ton of money. Despite her reinstatement, Netflix's trans employee resource group, they have a department for that, is still moving forward with a planned walkout next week, according to The Verge, which obtained their internal memo. Trans lives matter. Trans rights matter. And as an organization, Netflix has continually failed to show deep care for our mission to entertain the world by repeatedly releasing content that harms the community and continually fails to create content that represents and uplifts trans content. We can do much better, a leader of the movement repeatedly wrote. This is where they lose me. Jokes about the trans community are not active harm. If you believe that, okay, then jokes about the white male community cause harm too, doesn't it? Are you going to stand up for the white males that are constantly disparaged on your Netflix programming? How about the white females? How about Asians with your harmful stereotypes? I mean, if words are like the same thing as raising hands, then it must be true for all groups of people. You should be aware that some talent may join third parties. We already know that. It's funny to me how all of this is kind of spiraling and continues to run. Part of this seems to be all part of Dave Chappelle's plan. Honestly, like I can't think of a better marketing play, because what's going to happen and how this is going to backfire is people are going to go watch this stand-up special now, and they're going to think, wow, he must have really said something offensive. And then they're going to go see it, and they're going to see what he really said wasn't all that bad. Now, I know some thin-skinned individuals might be literally triggered by what he said, but it really isn't that bad. And then they're going to lose a ton of credibility. This is only going to and will continue to backfire for people that continue to push this narrative that jokes are literal harm, and they look like crazy people. Pick your spots. That's only, if I could offer some advice, if you want to talk about them not having enough trans people in leadership, okay, that's one thing. But when you want to talk about, hey, we need some oversight, to make sure jokes aren't allowed to air that we find offensive, then that makes you look like a crazy person. I love it because I hate Netflix as a company, and I hope you love it too. And if you do, make sure you leave a like on this video, and make sure you check out Keeps, a proud sponsor of this channel, and we'll talk to you again real soon.